I'm in the departure lounge now because you don't know 3 year and 10, and the last 20 years flew. So God knows what the next 14 is going to do if I'm lucky enough to get that. But while I'm alive and while I'm fit and able, I want to do the best I can for Tommy and Tyson. But Tyson, obviously, he's in a different league now. 20,000 yes men around him. You know, this is what happens. I think we get to the top. There's a lot of leeches out there, a lot of hangers on. As you can see what's happening in America with him. Appalling work, to be honest with you, but that's just my opinion, but I'm straightforward. But that's Tyson's business. He's over 21. It's up to him.
When you say appalling, are you talking about the whole thing where, you know, he was going to fight AJ and then at the last minute suddenly he's fighting Deontay Wilder?
It's diabolical, isn't it? You know, you're geared up to fight one man, and all of a sudden, on the 11th hour, it's all sorted within 24 hours. He's signing contracts in the hall of a boxing venue. You know, they're around him like locusts. You know, and I think to myself, you know, how can you think straight with all that around you? It's, for my one, it's a mistake. It's a mistake. We can blame his team, can't he? No one else. Anything rushed is no good, and that's been rushed. He was fighting AJ. I wanted to fight AJ. I've no interest in Deontay Wilder. But I'd just say, listen, there's your belt, keep it. He keeps going on about belts mean note to him, doesn't he, my son? There's your belt, I'm fighting AJ.
What's good, family? Smash the like button and subscribe. So we just heard from John Theory, John the chinless one Theory, airing out his son and his goofy son's team over the last 1 or 2 weeks now worth of debauchery. Yeah, no doubt. Team Theory have been debaucherous over the last 2 weeks. You got Bob Arum, you got Frank Finding Nemo, Fish Eyes Looking Ass Warren, and all their goofy games and blaming Team AJ. Oh, you know, it's Eddie Hearn's fault for being a big mouth, and the judge, one of the main reasons that we lost the arbitration was because of Eddie Hearn's big mouth. The judge heard Eddie's big mouth, and that kind of pushed things over the edge. That's why we got to fight Wilder, all that kind of business. John the chinless one Theory has heard that. Not only, to be fair, he's heard all the things, and not only that, he saw the YB's video, yeah? Saw himself being chin, it's been finally exposed, he's got no chin, and obviously that's reduced the bass in his voice. Yeah, the bass has been reduced, no doubt. Not even a little piece of bass left in John Theory's voice, which essentially has humbled him. He's been humbled by the YB. So for me to sit here and tell you that it's only what's gone on with the arbitration and whatnot, and the AJ fight falling through, if I was to sit here and tell you that's the only reason John Theory is kind of coming out and calling a spade, I'll be lying to you. Yeah? The main part is the YB's video was leaked, and everyone saw that he's got no chin. Bottom line. He got chin by Black Skellington, and some next Don. I haven't done that video yet, but end of the day, bottom line is, everyone knows now John Theory is chinless. On that note, listen, big things like that, these are life-changing events. John Theory, yeah, has spent the last 10 years, myself included by the way, for the last 10 years, people like the YB, high IQ Dons, believed John Theory was just another level of just grimy. Yeah, we thought he was some next cartoon looking ass. He was just too much, you know what I'm saying? Many people, myself included, thought he was just greasy looking in you know what I'm saying? Just greasy looking in the squabble. He comes out, he's chinless. So on that note, this is a life-changing event for John Theory. He's going through it. No doubt. The realisation that he's only human. Or rather, he's better yet, he's got a subhuman chin. Yeah? He's got a genetically impaired chin, no doubt. And that's, everyone, different people, different events in life humble people differently. This right here was a humbling event. When you've been running around a place like your name's, what's that man from, like your man's He-Man. Yeah, when you've been gassing up the thing, like a He-Man, and it comes out 10 years later, that you ain't got no chin, it brings you down, it levels you out, doesn't it? That's what, and to be fair, it often works, that's often the best ways. But sometimes people need to be leveled out, and often that's how God works. God levels people out. You know what I'm saying? What's that thing? After a high comes a fall. John Theory's been on a long high, way too long, and the fall has come. Yeah? Through the YB, God has made John Theory's fall come surely, no doubt. Yeah, he's been falling all the way down when them tapes got leaked, and we saw that he ain't got no chin. Anyway, let's get to today's video. But I did think it was important to really let you man know that what you're hearing here from John Fury isn't just because he's trying to call a spade for calling a spade's sake. He's saying it because he's been humbled by the YB. That's what we do know. Yeah, he weren't trying to be honest before the tapes got leaked. And if you think it's a coincidence, this man hasn't told the truth in 10 years. If you think it's a coincidence, the YB leaks the tapes, or better yet, Porky leaks the tapes and YB pushes it out there too, then you're lying to yourself. Yeah, but for evil, I'm not knocking it. I'm just telling you what it is. End of the day, what John Fury said is actually more or less the truth. Now, how he got there, you could argue is irrelevant, but I'm just telling you exactly. I'm giving you, man, the steps here. YB leaked the tapes. John Fury is now humbled. You can hear in his voice. It's not bass. Before, yeah, when people talk with bass in their voice, it's not really real. You're giving it all that. That there is, it's like almost an act. That's a character. The bass is now phased. It's like it's fizzled out of his voice. There's not a lot of bass. Now all you hear really is the truth. And John Fury was airing his son out, saying, Tyson, you said you didn't want no belt. Why? You know what I'm saying? If you're not interested in the belt, let the belt go. Airing Fury's team out. Bob Arum, you're 90-year-old. What are you doing? You told me the arbitration was a done deal. Now you tell me it's not a done deal and we've got to fight Wilder immediately. Fury's team pushing the contract under his nose in some next sports hall. Yeah? All these little things. Fair play to John Fury. That's the bottom line on this one. That is the bottom line. You have to give respect to John Fury. No doubt. But anyway, today's topic. Now I've given you, man, the rundown of the John Fury stuff. AJ's reacted to all the stuff we've talked about today. He's reacted to John Fury coming out and airing Tyson Fury's team out and airing his own son's actions out. Because listen, basically John Fury said, listen, Tyson's gone Hollywood on us. Tyson Fury has gone Hollywood on us, yeah? Gone Hollywood. He said, listen, my son don't want to listen to me. If I'm not in a Rolls Royce, my son ain't interested, is what John said. Now, I'm hearing there's arguably a little bit of a family feud going on at the moment. Because ever since I leaked the videos of John Fury, the chinless one, his son has felt, Tyson has felt like he's been done wrong, kind of thing. Tyson Fury, bearing in mind he's trying to be a boxer, yeah? Tyson Fury's feeling like, Dad, you've done me wrong by passing on your moody genes. Yeah? That's what he's thinking. Tyson Fury's thinking, you know what, Dad? You told me you was bare knuckle warrior. You told me you told me we came from 300 years of bare knuckle champions. And now it comes out, now the YB's put the video out there, that chin ain't no bare knuckle champion chin. You got bopped by Black Skeletor looking ass, and you was spark out, yeah? You was looking at your toes, like the YB just showed us. That's what he said, 100%. Tyson Fury and John Fury, their relationship, I feel guilty to be fair. You know me, I'm not trying to come in between. I'd hate to think some of my actions end up coming in between a dad and a son kind of thing. I ain't trying to do that, but at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, it's one of them ones. So I'd hate to, but I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that Tyson Fury at the moment is kind of feeling some type of way with his pops. He's thinking, Pops, you've had me sitting here and banging the wagon about how I'm bare knuckle this and I'm going to do this and bare champion that. And now it comes out that you didn't pass on no bare knuckle champion genes. You've passed on the chinless one's genes. So, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I'm just telling you, man, what's going on between them two at the moment. That's why you hear. That's why it's going kind of back and forth. That's why John Fury's airing some things out. Because they're both going through it. You heard John Fury. John Fury said, listen, I picked the phone up to Tyson, and Tyson, he weren't really listening. He's not going to listen, isn't he? Because his dad's chinless, kind of thing. I'm not being horrible. I'm just telling you. Think about it. If you've put your dad on a pedestal, because for many years, Tyson Fury put his dad on a pedestal. Yeah? My dad's the bare knuckle champion warrior, no doubt. He'll have it with anyone, will John Fury. And now it comes out that he won't have it with anyone. In fact, he won't even have it with Black Skeleton looking ass. Black Skeleton looking ass, falling back, squared up. In fact, he won't have it with. He won't even having a bit with him. Listen, Black Skeleton was falling back, squared up, threw his arm out. Wasn't even really a shot. Nonetheless, John Fury was Sparko. Yeah, his son Tyson feels betrayed almost, yeah? Almost like, Dad, your chin has not only betrayed you, it's betrayed all of your kids too. It's going to betray all of the generations going forward. You've got the kind of the chinless curse on us now. We've been genetically cursed by the dodgy genes, by the moody genes you passed on to us. So listen, I can see both sides on this one. It's hard, it's difficult. It's difficult when you're trying to be a boxer, when your dad and your pops, you find out after 30 years of believing, or being told that you was bare knuckle, and it comes out that in fact you're chinless. It's kind of one of them ones. And from Fury's point of view, it's kind of all adding up now. Like, wait there a minute. It makes sense now why a light heavyweight, Steve Cunningham, had my toes curling. Yeah, it all makes sense now that Deontay Wilder, a blown up cruiserweight, yeah, or sorry, a solid light heavyweight, had me laying on my back, having to pull off a miracle, having to pull off a Undertaker. Let's not forget that. Many people are like, oh, YB, Fury pulled off an Undertaker. Listen, who did you? It's all well and good pulling off an Undertaker, yeah, but who did you have to pull an Undertaker off against? You weren't pulling the Undertaker off against 1986 Mike Tyson. It was off Deontay Wilder, a 200-pound soaking wet man. He was 209 on that night, no doubt. Soaking wet he was. Light heavyweight kind of weight. Tony Bellend, guess what? Tony Bellend weighed in 213. A light heavyweight. Heavier than Deontay Wilder. What? End of the day, pigeon chest, chicken leg looking ass Deontay Wilder had Fury spark out. Having to pull off magic tricks to get up. So Fury is sitting there now, looking back on his life and thinking, wait there a minute, it's all adding up now. And obviously all these feelings and whatnot, my video comes out and it's got it all bubbling up. So but at the end of the day, John Fury and his son are going through it right now. Yeah, all this, there's a lot of bad blood at the moment. Me personally, I do feel guilty. I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't. The YB feels guilty for the part I've played in this. Some things are better left unsaid. And for the family's sake, it will be better that we didn't all know that John Fury has passed on his moody, chinless genes. That's the truth of it. Because end of the day, rightly or wrongly, the Fury family are trying to be in this boxing game. But now it makes sense. Why be? Why is Tommy Fury fighting a Don who's 0-19? Oops. Now you know. Because John Fury knows the moody genes he's passed on to his sons. Yeah, that's why Tommy Fury won't fight no one. Because his dad knows, listen, Tommy, I love you. On that basis, I know the moody genes I've passed on. Yeah, I don't want you to go out the same way I went out, which was spark out. Yeah, let's not forget that. John Fury forgot to tell everyone that he ended his career on his back twice by random dons no one's ever heard of. Yeah, that's the truth of it, and he knows that. He don't want his sons to go out the same way, but he knows he's passed on the same moody hardware he had to work with. The moody whiskers, let's call them. Let's call them moody whiskers, the chinless moody whiskers. Yeah. So listen, you know what? I respect John for whatever reason. Yes, the YB had to humble you, but nonetheless, now you've come out and called a spade a spade. I respect that. We all respect that. So you know what? On that note, let's move forward now. Let's stop. Now I feel like I've spent 15 minutes gassing the place up, but it had to be done. Yeah, we had to get the baseline out there. Let's now move on to what the chinless one actually had to say. So John Fury, like we heard at the start of the video, airs out Fury's team for how messy looking the whole lot is. Jumping between 1 minute it's the Wilder fight, then it's the AJ fight, then it's the Wilder fight and whatever else. And that really is what it is. We've kind of spoke about that already. But listen, the other part where he talks about all the leeches and locusts. Now, I'm not knocking Fury's trainer, but I've noticed that Fury's trainer now, he's on the drink. He's on the shirt open and dancing around the place, buying into it. I'm not sure them kind of relationships end well or can work in the long run. I didn't realise that Don, I forgot his name, Fury's trainer, I didn't realise he was so weak-minded. What's wrong with... It's supposed to be... For example, yeah, I don't remember Manny Stewart with a pink shirt on, unbuttoned pink shirt on and glass shades on and big drink in his hand. I don't remember seeing that with his fighters. I remember Manny Stewart was that typical master and student role, as it arguably should be. I don't remember seeing Castellamato with his green, light green shirt on, open and shades on, big, big glass of drink in his hand, big chain around his neck, and in the video with Tyson. I don't remember seeing it. I just don't. I don't know, maybe you man got some leaked videos. Please send them through. If you man have got any tapes of Manny Stewart or Castellamato in there with their bright lime shirts on and big thick chain on and shades on, and they're partying with Tyson and partying with Lennox Lewis or whoever else, show me it, please. I don't remember seeing it, but that's just one example. And these are the people who are most to have, really, even more than your promoter and manager, your trainer is supposed to have the most positive influence. All I see is him trying to be in the video with Tyson. Now, we understand that fighters, they have personality, but I don't know, I just feel that it felt a bit odd to me. Not that it's a bad thing, well, it is a bad, I just think it's not very professional, in my opinion. I just don't get this. It buys into that whole, for example, Fury can prance around all he wants, but in my mind, the trainer should be that guy who says, you're right, yep, Fury, when you're not in the gym, when you're not with me, you can prance around, but when you're with me, it's work time. That's normally how that's in my mind at least, how things work. You don't blur them lines. Oh, you know what, Fury, let's go out together tonight. Yeah, I'll pick my pink lime shirt on as well. I'll put my thick chain on and my shades on. I'll have a big drink in my hand too. What's that about? It's like he's trying to Fury's trainer trying to live his best years out again. Got a bit of fame now and a bit of money or whatever, and he wants to be part all in the video. Seems a bit cringe, truth be known. I thought he was from better stock than that. People like to keep mentioning the gym that he's from. Oh, completely forgot the name, but Manny Stewart's gym. Oh, he's from his gym. The Kronk, that's it, the Kronk. Oh, he's from the Kronk. He's from the Kronk. Well, guess what? The leader, the master of the Kronk, he weren't in the video. He weren't partying with Lennox and whoever else he worked with. It was standard master. I remember, for example, when Manny Stewart worked with Naz. He said, listen, he was that, you know what I mean? He was that ultimate Godfather voice. Naz was partying and doing crazy, stupid stuff. And Manny Stewart was there trying to get him to rein it in. You didn't see Manny Stewart in there with his bright pink shirt on and shades and chain on, jumping around the place, trying to be all in the party with him. You're meant to be that positive influence at all times, in my mind. That just shows you one example of what John Fury is talking about with Fury's team. And I'm not saying they're all leeches, but you kind of have to ask yourself, who is really doing the thinking here? Because it's not Bob Arum. Fish Eyes is just broke and desperate for anything. He'll just take what is given. And all that Fish Eyes does is take what is given and shill against Eddie Hearn. Bob Arum, messy. He's old, to be fair to him. He's 90-year-old. I don't think he knows what he's doing. I'm not sure he knows what day it is, truth be known. I really don't. If you ask Bob Arum what day it is, he's got a 1 in 7 chance of being right. That's about it. No doubt. So if it's not Bob Arum, if it's not Fish Eyes, if it's not Fury's trainer, who's leading the ship here? So John Fury is absolutely correct there. It's messy. And the concerns John Fury has, he mentions that, I'm not sure that is Fury's head on straight ready for this rematch. Now he actually implies that the AJ fight's actually easier than the Wilder fight. That's what he implies. John Fury implies that Tyson may not be ready to fight Wilder in the rematch. Now either way, I can kind of see where he's getting that from. Because what John Fury is basically saying is, who is leading this train? Who's driving the ship? We don't know. Usually, the concerns John Fury's having usually is the responsibility of the trainer. Because the trainer is the one who's... the trainer is usually the one who says yay or nay. Yay or nay to every opponent. It's not the promoter or the manager, or even really the fighter. The trainer will say, yes, we're doing this next. And the fighter just takes orders. Look at Mike Tyson. For years, he didn't pick his opponents. It was always Castellamato who had the last say on who he's fighting next. Always. Now, today, I don't know who it is, but that voice, that the concerns John Fury has have not been aired by Tyson Fury's trainer. He seems to me like he's happy just to go along and he's just a passenger. We haven't heard nothing from him. And I'm not talking about publicly, but even behind closed doors, we know that he hasn't said anything, because if he has, we wouldn't be sitting here today. He just seems to me like, oh, you know, we'll go along with whatever. Now, it could be the case that he's just supremely confident, as if to say, I don't care who it is, I'll fill in anyone. Maybe that's the case. And there is an argument for that, bearing in mind how successful their last fight was against Wilder. Maybe they genuinely just don't care. I don't know. All I know is, that put me off. Seeing my man trying to party and trying to be all in the video, that just didn't sit right with me. But we just don't know. Maybe it's a new 2021 approach. Maybe it's going to show that Fury will be more ferocious than ever and Wilder even better. We're going to find out though. But you best believe, if we see John Fury has concerns that Tyson Fury's eye may not be on the ball, we'll soon know that in the fight. But it's too late then from John Fury's point of view, which is absolutely correct. But what we do know is there's very little evidence really that Tyson Fury's team are keeping their eye on, or Tyson Fury's trainer is keeping his eye on the ball. He's the most important piece on the board. Because if Tyson Fury's trainer's got his eye on the ball, I think everything's alright. If he hasn't, if he's kind of slacking off, buying into the hype, we heard remember him saying something like, oh, we may even walk down AJ. Just little things like that give me pause to think, is this man on the drink kind of thing? Is he been banging a drink again? That's what it sounds like to me. Them kind of lyrics there, typical lyrics of, have you been banging a drink? You sound like you're off the drink. That's what he sounds like to me. About he might walk down AJ. Like, that there isn't a sound thinking man, in my mind. And that's just one example. Combine that with the pictures and the shirt undone and chain on and glass shades on and big drink in his hand. I don't know. There don't seem to be too, and especially bearing in mind John Fury is an insider as well. Hearing these concerns from John Fury, never mind my opinion, you're hearing it from the man himself. And Tyson's losing his head, as we've found out. He just seems messy, he seems bipolar as ever. So what is going on here? Either way, I guess from a fighting point of view, we'll find out. There's just too many. It does seem a bit chaotic, I can't lie. I'm hearing things that Fury may retire or Fury's going to get injured. It's all just a whole bunch of mess. And actually hearing from John Fury actually gives them rumours more weight, in my opinion. Is it more likely that Fury actually fulfills this fight? Or is it something that's going to come up? Given how messy it is, who knows? Let's not forget. When Fury had a messy thing before with Vlad, that got called off. So, at this point in time, all we can do is sit back and wait. But I do give John Fury his credit for coming out and airing things out for whatever reason. Now, before I go, John Fury also made some comments on the belt. He said that Tyson should give the belt back and just be done with it. But what I don't think John Fury realises is this, from what I understand at least, from my inside legal sources, this claim isn't against the belt. Many people get confused. They say they've kind of linked this Fury and Wilder situation to the WBC Lennox Lewis situation. They are not the same. Lennox Lewis was a mandatory or a unification position. That's what that was over. That was for a mandatory unification thing. So, or one of the two, which meant that Lennox had a direct claim to the belt. This Fury and Wilder thing, this isn't a mandatory. Does that make sense? This thing hasn't arisen from a mandatory. This isn't. So, for example, the WBC haven't ordered Wilder versus Fury. This isn't one of them ones. This is actually a claim to the person. This claim goes against Tyson Fury himself. So by relinquishing the belt, would that change Wilder's opinion or position? Possibly, as in, he may change his mind and say, yeah, you know what, I'm happy to let Fury go, but legally speaking, this is a claim against Fury's person. Because Fury signed the contract to fight Wilder with a rematch clause. Got nothing to do with the belt. If Wilder wants to fight still, even if Fury relinquishes the belt, Wilder still has a claim against Fury. In this case. This wasn't a case of the WBC ordering the fight and then Fury's not doing it. If that makes sense. This is the case of Fury and Wilder have their own little thing, have an agreement, and that's the end of that. So relinquishing the belt, more likely than not, especially given how Wilder sounds. Wilder doesn't really sound like, yes, the belt, I'm sure he wants the belt, but it sounds more to me like he wants that get back. He wants to undo what's been done. He wants to rewrite history where he got washed by a Don with double D's hanging off his back. So yeah, fair play John Fury. I hope that him and his son over time can repair them bonds that the YB is arguably broken. But listen, I feel for what it's worth, I feel a little bit guilty that I've kind of driven a wedge in between these two Dons, but I'm sure over time, all I've done is bring the truth out there. Let's not forget that as well. Oh, YB, you're a bad person. YB, how can you expose that John Fury passed on his useless chinless genes? Well, that's not my fault, innit? I didn't ask John Fury to gas his son's head up, believing he was something more. So, the truth, listen, at the end of the day, I'm sure that the truth of time, the truth will bring everyone back together again, no doubt.